Welcome back to the deep dives. So today we're going to do something a little different. Usually, when we talk about systems thinking or data logging, we're talking about these massive corporate strategies.
Right, or high-level computer architecture, big abstract things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We rarely talk about, well, weeds growing in a driveway.
No, usually driveway weeds are just, they're a nuisance, right?
Yeah.
You pull them out, you spray them, you move on. They're an error.
They're an error in the landscape.
Yeah.
Exactly. But today we are looking at a case study that just flips that entire script on its head.
Okay.
We're digging into a source from a blog called kinameng.org. The author, a guy named Eng, describes himself as an old software plumber.
What kind of old software plumber? I like that.
And we're looking at one specific post, the incidental discovery of Siam Ginseng in my front yard.
It's a fascinating collision of worlds, isn't it? You've got that software plumber mindset, which is all logic, structure, variables, defined outcomes, and that's meeting the biological reality of a front yard, which is messy.
So messy, unpredictable. It's constantly throwing chaos at you.
Exactly.
And before we even get to the plant itself, we have to talk about the context. This isn't just a random blog post. It's part 791 of his series, Notes on Gardening.
Part 791. That number alone just stopped me in my tracks.
Right.
That's not a hobby, that's a discipline. That is a massive archive of data.
It really is. And we're going to get into the sheer, almost frightening volume of his output later, because it says so much about how he sees the world.
Okay.
So first, let's just unpack the mission for this deep dive. We're not here to give gardening tips.
No, the plant's cool, but that's not the point.
Right. We are here to see how a systematic, analytical mind processes serendipity.
It's what happens when you apply code logic to nature.
Yes. So let's set the scene. January 29, 2026. Eng walks out his front door, spots something he didn't plant. For most of us, an uninvited plant in the front yard is a weed. It's a bug in the design. It wasn't in the specs.
Precisely. In software terms, you'd call it an anomaly. Something is running in the production environment that you didn't write.
Right.
But Eng doesn't just hit delete. He doesn't yank it out immediately. He enters what I would call diagnostic mode.
He investigates it. He treats this random sprout like a ticket in a bug tracking system.
Yeah, totally. He needs to know, what is this? Where did it come from? What are its dependencies?
And the identification process is so thorough, he gets the scientific name, Talinum paniculatum.
But he also clocks the local names. Siam Ginseng is the main one he uses.
But he notes another name that is it's fantastic.
What's that?
Jewels-of-Opar.
Jewels-of-Opar. Wow. That is incredibly evocative.
It sounds like something out of an Indiana Jones movie or a fantasy novel.
It's actually from the Tarzan novels by Edgar Rice Burroughs. Opar was this lost city of gold and jewels.
Oh.
And the plant gets the name because after it flowers, it produces these tiny, round, reddish berries that look like little rubies or beads.
That's surprisingly poetic for a software plumber.
It is.
You'd expect him to just call it Planty D404 or something.
Well, and that's the thing about Eng. He does appreciate the aesthetics. He isn't a robot. He notes the petite star-shaped flowers, says they range from pink to purple.
And the leaves.
Yeah.
He describes them as vibrant green, oval, forming a neat rosette at the base.
Neat rosette. That phrase really stood out to me, too.
Why?
He likes the orderliness of it. It appeals to his structured mind. Even though it grew randomly, it follows a kind of geometric logic. It's clean code, biologically speaking.
But he doesn't stop at, it looks pretty. This is where the engineer in him really kicks in.
Right.
He runs a full feature set and safety check. This is his utility analysis.
Yes. If you're evaluating a new software library for your project, you check, is it stable? Is it secure? Any known vulnerabilities. Eng determines that Talinum paniculatum is a hardy perennial herb. So it's stable, it's going to stick around.
And crucially, he checks the safety documentation.
That's non-negotiable. He notes the leaves are edible, they're used as a spinach alternative, and most importantly, that it's safe for children and pets.
That is vital.
Yeah.
I mean, in software, you can't integrate a module that might crash the whole system.
Or introduce a virus, yeah.
In a garden, you can't keep a plant that might poison the dog.
Exactly. So once those boxes are checked, stability, yes. Security, yes. Aesthetics, yes. He makes a decision.
He accepts the pull request from nature.
That's a great way to put it.
But here's the pivot point. He doesn't just leave it there. Most of us, if we decided a weed was okay, we'd just walk away.
But Aang does something else. He refactors the garden.
He harvests it for potting.
This is the part I really want to unpack. Why move it? I mean, it was growing fine where it was, right? It sprouted on its own.
Yeah, why mess with a good thing?
Think about it like refactoring code. In programming, refactoring means you take a messy piece of code that works and you clean it up, organize it.
Move it somewhere more manageable.
Yes.
Yes.
If you leave that plant in the driveway, it's vulnerable. It could get stepped on, mowed over. It's unmanaged.
So by potting it, he's moving it into a production environment.
Exactly. He's containerizing it.
Yeah.
By putting it in a pot, he can control all the variables, the soil quality, the water, sunlight.
Everything.
Everything. And he says it explicitly. His hope is that it survives the transplant to yield seeds for further propagation.
Propagation. It's a standard gardening term, but here it sounds a lot like scaling.
It is scaling. He says his next step is to source more specimens from nurseries to expand his cultivation.
So he's not satisfied with a single successful instance.
No. He wants to replicate the success. He wants to build a system around this accidental discovery.
There's a phrase he uses that I circled 3 times. He writes, "So far, this plant satisfies the requirement for my gardening style and space."
Satisfies the requirement. It's fantastic phrasing.
It's so devoid of emotion, but it's oddly respectful.
It's purely functional. He's treating the garden as a project with specific acceptance criteria. He has constraints, space, climate, time. This plant fits those constraints.
He's removing the "I feel" from the equation.
And replacing it with, does this work?
Which honestly probably saves him a lot of heartbreak. Gardeners get so attached to plants that just aren't right for their climate.
We try to force roses to grow in the shade.
Exactly. Aang is just looking at the data.
And that data-driven approach is no accident. If we pull back from this one plant and look at the blog itself, the scale of what he's doing is honestly a little frightening.
We mentioned part 791, but I looked at the archives in the sidebar on kiameng.org.
It's just a wall of text.
In January 2026, just that 1 month,
Yeah.
there are 87 posts.
87.
That's nearly 3 posts a day, every single day.
And it isn't a burst of manic energy. This is his baseline. If you look at 2025, 2024, 2023, he's logging over 700 entries a year. Consistently.
It's a staggering amount of output. Who has time for that?
See, that's the wrong question. It isn't about having time. It's about how he views his life. He's not writing polished essays every time. He's maintaining a runtime log.
Okay, explain that for someone who isn't a coder. What's a runtime log?
Okay, so when a complex software system is running, like a web server, it generates a log file. It records everything that happens in real time. Error at 2:0 p.m. User logged in at 2:05. System temperature rising. It's a stream of consciousness for the machine.
So Aang is doing that for his life.
Mm.
He's treating his existence as a system that needs to be monitored.
Precisely. And if you look at the topics, they are wildly different, but they're all treated with the exact same level of granularity.
I saw the projects list. It's this mix of hardcore computer science and very domestic life.
Right. On one hand, you have notes on Haskell programming, notes on Rust, notes on Elixir.
Heavy stuff.
Really heavy functional programming languages, complex stuff. And then right next to it, notes on fish keeping.
The fish logs are incredible. He has specific categories for betta spawn logs and polar parrot cichlids.
And notes on dieting, specifically lei cha, which is this traditional tea-based soup. Notes on guitar, notes on meditation.
It's funny because we usually compartmentalize these things, right?
Oh.
You have your work self who knows Haskell and your home self who feeds the fish.
But on his blog, they're all just data points.
Yeah.
Look at the recent posts list from January 2026. You literally have a post titled Notes on Haskell Programming, Part 44, Automating, sitting right next to Notes on Fish Keeping, Part 182, Light Adjustments.
And addressing Legivinka, another plant issue, right beside the power of a type system.
To Aang, these are not different worlds. They're just different modules in the same operating system. Debugging a fish tank with too much algae requires the exact same cognitive steps as debugging a Haskell program with a memory leak.
You identify the variable, you isolate it, you patch it, you document it.
And you watch the logs to see if it worked. That's why he posts 3 times a day. If he changes the light setting on the aquarium, he has to log it.
Otherwise, 2 weeks from now, if the algae comes back, he won't know why.
He won't have the data.
That's actually incredibly practical. I mean, how often do we try to fix a problem in our lives, like a bad sleep schedule, and then we fail, but we don't know why we failed?
Because we didn't track the variables. We don't generate logs, we just guess. Aang doesn't guess. He tinkers.
That's the word from his bio. tinkering with free Libre and open source software.
Let's talk about that free Libre part. FLOSS.
It's a clumsy acronym, but the philosophy behind it is so deep.
It is. FLOSS, free Libre open source software, is the whole idea that code should be accessible. It should be transparent. You should be able to see how it works, change it, share it.
And he's applying that ethics system to his front yard.
Meaning, he doesn't hoard the knowledge. He could have just potted the Siam Ginseng and enjoyed it, kept the Jewels-of-Opar to himself.
But he wrote a public report about it.
He identified it, photographed it, and published it. He's contributing back to the knowledge base.
He even lists the organizations he supports on his site, the EFF, the Free Software Foundation, Tor Project, Wikipedia.
They're all about the free flow of information. It frames the blog not as a vanity project, look at my pretty flowers, but as a public utility.
He even has that disclaimer, opinions expressed here are my own. I cannot guarantee the accuracy.
Which is the blogger equivalent of works on my machine.
It is. Works on my machine. It's a humble brag and a disclaimer all in one.
He's just saying, look, in my specific environment, my front yard, this plant thrives. Your mileage may vary. He's not claiming to be the ultimate authority. He's just sharing his patch notes.
I want to go back to some of those other titles because they really illustrate this problem-solving mindset. You mentioned the blackbeard algae.
Oh, blackbeard algae is the nemesis of every aquarium owner. It's this stubborn, ugly, brush-like algae that takes over everything.
And he has a post on decoding duckweed.
Duckweed is like the spam email of the plant world. Once you have it, you can never get rid of it. But notice his framing, decoding it.
He's not fighting it.
No, he's not fighting it emotionally. He's trying to understand the algorithm of the plant.
And then the cost of organic under his dieting notes. He's constantly running this cost-benefit analysis on his own life inputs.
This is why the software plumber name is so perfect. A plumber doesn't design the water. A plumber manages the flow. They fix leaks, they optimize pressure.
Aang is plumbing the data flows of his life.
Whether it's calories or lumens in the fish tank or lines of code, it's all just flow.
So if we step back and look at the Siam Ginseng post again, it really isn't about a flower, is it?
No, the flower is just the trigger. The post is about agency.
Agency.
Think about it. Most people are passive recipients of their environment. A weed grows. That's an annoyance that happened to you. A pipe leaks. A disaster that happened to you.
A meeting gets canceled. A frustration that happened to you.
Right. But Aang's approach, this Part 791 mindset, is active. He looks at the weed and he asks, is this a bug or a feature?
He evaluates it against his requirements.
And if it's a feature, he integrates it, satisfies the requirement. He takes ownership of the random chaos. He turns an accidental discovery into a deliberate project.
It transforms daily life from a series of chores into a series of experiments.
Exactly. It makes life interesting. If you're just weeding the garden, it's drudgery. If you are refactoring the biological production environment.
It's an intellectual challenge.
That is.
I'm going to use that next time I have to mow the lawn.
Honey, I'm just deploying a patch to the front lawn.
You should. It changes how you feel about the work. It gives you some distance and perspective.
But there's a challenge here for the listener, too. We can't all write 87 blog posts a month. I mean, I definitely can't. That's a level of discipline that borders on superhuman.
No, and you shouldn't try unless you're wired that way. But the principle holds up. And the principle is, pay attention. He wouldn't have found the Jewels-of-Opar if he wasn't looking closely.
You don't get to Part 791 by sleepwalking. You have to notice the shape of the leaves, the tiny fruit. We filter out so much of our world just to get through the day.
We ignore the weeds.
We ignore the weird noise the fridge is making. Aang seems to operate with the filters off.
He's capturing the data that the rest of us just throw away.
And look at the ROI, the return on investment. Because he paid attention, he got a free, beautiful, edible plant. He got a new project. He got content for his blog.
He turned a weed into an asset just by being curious.
That is the takeaway for our deep dive. The world is constantly submitting pull requests to your life. New people, new ideas, accidental hobbies.
Random problems.
All of it. And you can just close a request and ignore them. Or you can do what Aang does.
Review the code.
Run the diagnostics. See if it satisfies a requirement. You might find something valuable hiding in plain sight.
It also speaks to the value of just writing it down.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have a public blog.
Oh, absolutely. There's something powerful about externalizing your observations. When Aang writes Part 791, he's validating that day's experience. He's saying, this happened and it mattered enough to record.
It anchors you in the present moment. It's mindfulness, really. just with more technical jargon.
It is. It's geek mindfulness. Being present, but with a logbook in your hand.
I love that. Geek mindfulness. So, as we wrap this up, what should we be looking for in our own front yards?
I think the question for you to consider is, what are you currently ignoring? What's growing in your life? A skill you're accidentally picking up, a relationship that's just sort of there that you haven't formally recognized.
What's the incidental discovery that you haven't potted yet?
Right. Is there a feature you're treating as a bug? Maybe that annoyance at work is actually pointing you toward a new way of solving a problem. Maybe that accidental hobby you started could be your Jewels-of-Opar.
But you won't know unless you stop, look at the data, and maybe write a log entry about it.
Start your own part 1.
Part 1. That is a lot less intimidating than Part 791.
You have to start somewhere. And remember, the system is never finished, as Aang ends his posts. Till the next post.
There's always another commit.
Always. Life is a continuous integration process.
That is a great place to leave it. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into qianmeng.org. Go check your driveways, folks. You never know what you might find.
Happy tinkering.
See you next time.